Hello once again, friends. So another month has passed, and these are the pickups of the month. Mostly used stuff, some stuff from like trades and stuff, different local comic stores, of course, as we do. I'll leave the new releases to the end, but they'll actually have some good stuff worth showcasing, which, as we do in these videos, we'll stop once in a while to remark on the art and writing. So let's. Okay, first stop of the month was 204 Comics. Just went through like the indie kind of stuff. John Byrne's Babe, checking that out. I heard that this is maybe like pretty bad, but I thought I'd check it out anyway. Blade Runner 2019, number 3. Just powering right through these, kind of can't put them down. But it seems like it's all one big, long storyline for this series, so just be warned if you're interested in this. This Blade Runner 2019, number 3. This was $4. Okay, a little bit more for this. H.P. Lovecraft, The Master of Horror, number 4, with The Alchemist. I've talked about this before. I tend to think that this from Adventure Comics is the best of the comic adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft. They're not too verbose or take a lot of like narration and stuff. And they're also, what's the word, like loyal to these stories, but they are good at adapting it to a comic form well, because it doesn't depend on it being like a novel with just illustrations on the side or anything. It's kind of like all adapted to the comic format with, you know, actual panels and art and dialogue rather than narration. Yeah, I do tend to like these the best. I do recommend these. And yeah, pretty familiar with Lovecraft's writing and stuff. Oh, an early Spawn ad. But yeah, these ones from Adventure Comics, I recommend these if you're into this kind of thing. A copy of Lone Wolf and Cub. This is issue number 7. These are just always good, worthwhile. Somebody actually recently bought all my Lone Wolf and Cub doubles for like $5 each, but I gave them like 5 for $20, so $4 each or whatever. Just kind of want to replenish that. It's kind of good to always have some extra copies of this, I reckon. I don't see it going down in price anytime soon, but just also quality art and writing, of course. Thought I would take a chance on this Painkiller Jane number 0. I kind of like Joe Quesada and Jim Palmiotti together, and Amanda Conner on the art. But this, I tried it out and I was just kind of like, whatever. Some Neil Gaiman, Phage. Again, as more and more stuff comes out about Neil Gaiman, all I gotta say is, stop stealing my moves. Alright, sorry guys. This is Phage number 2, number 3, and number 4. I do like Bryan Talbot, so there's a frequent collabs with Bryan Talbot. David Pugh on the penciling and Tim Perkins on the inking. They do a good job. Kind of checking this out. Yeah, all this techno or big entertainment stuff, well, later I guess is big entertainment. After it was techno initially. I'm just kind of like digging this stuff. This is kind of like a heavy metal style story and stuff. I guess I should weigh in on the Neil Gaiman stuff, but I mean, I don't even care, whatever. I imagine kind of in the future, not only will you be shunned for having the wrong takes, but you'll even be shunned for not having any take at all, for just not even wanting to be plugged in to any news cycle or anything. But anyway, yeah, Talbot and Pugh should be alright. Okay, on to the next shop. Went in to do a trade at CAPT'S, or Captain's COLLECTIBUZZ, one of the newer shops in town. And yeah, I was kind of just on the hunt for some kind of indie stuff, which is, there's actually a lot of comics there, so if you're willing to dig. Basically, the half of these, like, I ended up paying cash for when you do the math, and half were like part of the trade, so yeah, not too bad. And I guess he's open in negotiation. I felt a little bit like, I guess it's kind of the dance. You know, I just asked like, oh, can you go like $10 higher or something? He's like, yeah, okay, stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't want to push it and stuff, but he seems kind of open to a little bit of bargaining, haggling, if you will. Some Richard Corben adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe. This is Haunted Horror number 1, number 2, and number 3. From what I've read of these, with the Lovecraft ones and the Poe ones, they can kind of go either way of not being like necessarily my favorite Corben stuff. But you know, I haven't read all of them by any means. Maybe just about like 1 out of 4, 25%ish, and even even mediocre Corben is better than normal comics. So you're not going to do too bad with this stuff. We'll see how this goes though. Okay, here's one to showcase. I'm going to put chapter notes in this, you guys, because this one I'm going to stop on for a little bit. Because I will say this Hellblazer Annual, number 1, it's probably one of my favorite single issues of all time. It's almost certainly my favorite issue of Hellblazer, at least at Volume 1. I've read almost all of Volume 1 and some of the other volumes, but I'd say this is like, in my experience, this is the best, or in my opinion, the best Hellblazer single issue of all time. And I'm going to show you why a little bit here. Let's see if I'm ready. I just couldn't, like, every time I read this, I just want to show, like, everything in here. So, or every time I read this, I want to read the whole thing. It's so, like, this is like being under a blanket and with hot cocoa and, like, your loved ones are reading you, like, one of the best stories you've ever heard or something. This is just fantastic, man. So it starts off, Constantine, may as well show that a little bit. He has a little tryst with a lady. And, you know, Spent passes out, falls asleep. Comes to this dream of a red ocean, an ocean of blood, if you will, and a warthog. What does this say? Iron ships on a bloody sea, the sow cleaves me. And it goes back to, this is Emperor Constantine, his relative, if you will, at the end of his days. Constantine is, he goes down into this kind of like hold and keep of magical relics and stuff that he has, to this petrified head. And it turns out that it's the head of Merlin. Who am I? He says, and Merlin just, the head of Merlin just pukes out all of this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a good job here. I'm using this new camera, but it's kind of hard to like look through and look at this at the same time. You know what? I better... He's telling Merlin to basically recite an epic of his life, and to make it good, to make it rhyme. I am old, Merlin, and I would review my time before its last leg is run. Soon I shall pass beyond. Sing me my life, great Merlin, and if it is a good song, sung with fine poetry in the old way, I will unchain your soul, and let it swim at last to other world. This petrified, this severed head of Merlin. Hear this noble song I sing, the song of great Constantine, the king. And this, like this, the details. Or Constantine is, he's like dying. He keeps puking up blood throughout all of this. One moment, I have to like fix the light so I can see this better. Okay, we'll continue here. I'm getting older. I need reading glasses now. Anyhow. Oh, I like this part where better the ruler than the ruled, better the slave than the shackle. Don't cross words with me, you dotard. I have a mind to light this wick and make you a lantern for my last hours in this world. Ha ha! I have a mind, and so I will! And he sets his head on fire. Tells him to, even though he's on fire, to keep reciting poetry about his life. I hope I do this justice. It's a little bit hard for me to see this and through the camera. Lady, look on me as I don the cloak of the sky. Lady, cleanse me. Lady, pity me, as I am born into the belly of the dragon. For I was your child, you gave me milk. I was your lover, you gave me power. I am your food, you give me rest. This is a very richly written comic. I could kind of read like the whole thing to you, and you'd be enthralled if you're into this kind of thing. I definitely recommend it. The whole thing. This is art by Bryan Talbot. I'm just going to, in the interest of time, I'm just going to show just some little parts here. You are a craven fool, poor feeble Merlin. This I have built with force of will. This have I held with magic. It kind of goes into, I mean, Emperor Constantine, if you know your history, or if you remember your history. He was the Roman emperor that is credited with making Christianity the official religion of Rome. But in this comic, it's kind of shown here that he's like a powerful pagan sorcerer, wizard, magician, and relative to Constantine. And that he kind of just did it as a way to adapt with the times. I don't know how much of this would be based on historical findings or not. But yeah, and that the churches... the key churches of the time, of course, that are raised are built on pagan holy sites, stuff like that. Here he's, I dare to free the dragon from her lair. And he sets Merlin on fire. Merlin says, all that I suffer is all I deserve. Ah! It's very noble, epic people. This is a great scene. He keeps sacrificing his own children to make himself live longer. There was still work to be done. Father, where are we going? Father, how old are these trees? Father, how many more days do we have ride through the forest? Father, who lives here? The mother. Whose mother? My mother? Everybody's mother. Wait. So, Constantine, is the time so quickly fled? Have you come back to me? Yes, lady, I have, if you decree it so. Already one son have I sent you in my place, another waits without. If you will give the knowledge how it may be done, I'll remain in this fading world for one more revolution of the heavenly castle, and yet defeat these barbarous priests. So you would know, would you? You would serve, would you? Yes. Am I your mother? Yes. Do you love me? Yes. Then love me, king. This old hag, by the fire, taking her into his arms. You are strong and vigorous, lord. You wield power and store all the knowledge in the world. But there is one craft you have not learned. What? The craft of submission? Teach it to me. Moments later, comes out. Father? Son. Go in, boy. Your mother will see you now. This is a really fantastic comic. It's really dark. One of the darkest Hellblazer. Well, Hellblazer's often quite dark, right? And though their power may last 10,000 years, still they must fail to be complete while writhes the dragon beneath their feet. Merlin's head continuing to recite. I hope I've done this justice, guys. This, if you like Hellblazer and don't have this one, I'd say get this one if you can. This is a double for me, so it'll be in the for sale or for friends bin. Not to plug that stuff, but that's just how we do. The back ends with Dean Motter. Of course, he's associated with Mr. X, right? I forgot what else, but this is basically a music video for Venus of the Hard Cell by Constantine's old punk band when he was young, Mucous Membrane. And, you know, I'm never a fan of when they have kind of like music written for comics, I guess, like lyrics and stuff, so it's whatever. It's a little bit like too verbose and stuff a lot of the time, right? Even though it's Delano, or would you say Delano, like Delano Roosevelt? But it's kind of like the best kind of songs are like Wild Thing or I Want to Be Your Dog. They should have a very dumb vocabulary, like a small amount of words and especially a low amount of syllables in my thinking. For rock and roll or punk rock especially, there's a bit like I guess writers can't kind of help themselves. But it is pretty good, pretty good. But yeah, highly recommend this one, guys. Hellblazer #1 annual from 1989. Jamie Delano and Bryan Talbot. Delano, maybe in the time of Hellblazer, you can think that his writing, and you wouldn't be wrong to think so, can be a bit stuck in time or the era with commentary, say, on the social issues of the time or the politics of the time. But this just goes beyond that, kind of getting to just far out eternal kind of shit. So I think that's better. And one of his best, really, one of the best of the series. Of course, I've how many times have I said that in the past 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, but yeah. Okay, getting to Jenny Finn Messiah. So in a previous video, I'd said maybe the different series reprint each other. As I understand it, there was one Jenny Finn, like to clarify or correct here, there was one Jenny Finn series from like 99 that was 2 issues, and then it was later in the mid-2000s another 2 issues, and those actually, there's a total of 4. So the first 2 are called Doom, the second 2 is Messiah, and they're all just part of the same 4-part or 4-issue story. So there's also a graphic novel called Jenny Finn Doom, another called Jenny Finn Messiah, and another complete collection called Jenny Finn Doom Messiah. The Dark Horse printing later is actually the first time it's colored by Dave Stewart, and I mistakenly said it was Guy Davis on the art last time, but it's actually Troy Nixey, and he does a fantastic job. Again, this is like really fun to read, Jenny Finn. There's nothing quite like it. It's very humorous, kind of a vibe of, say, like Jack the Ripper and H.P. Lovecraft, but a humor in it that is not stupid at all. A lot of the times, when humor is done, say in a horror setting, it's not very. The horror isn't scary and the humor isn't funny. But with this, it has both. The humor is very funny in this. And it's not like kid humor either. It's not like offensive or anything, but it's good. Maybe I'm just lacking the vocabulary to put it better. But Jenny Finn, guys, it's good. If you see it out there, get it. Okay, Jonah Hex. Again, the Palmiotti Jonah Hex stuff is pretty good. So I saw these are $1 each, so I just grabbed a bunch. Jonah Hex number 60. Number 61, 64, and 70. If there were more there for $1, I would have grabbed them, but those were just lying on top of a pile of comics. They were the only ones kind of anywhere that I could see there. Yeah, okay, here's one that's a little bit of like a heavier purchase, of course, from Catalan Communications, from Richard Corben, Ralph/Underground. And this is just like really minty, and I kind of, out of all the Catalan ones, I've been wanting to get the Ralph one, because I've been wanting to read that one especially, and I was just like, yeah, it's only gonna be, I mean, I haggled a little bit for this, nothing too crazy, but he was receptive to that too. It's pretty good. So yeah, these are just not going to go down in price anytime soon, it seems, and yeah, just cool to get some Richard Corben in a nice format, nice quality printing and colors and everything, and this is really minty. It's crazy. Not that I care about all that stuff, though. Of course, I wouldn't want to pay this much if it was more beat up, but yeah. This is another kind of a cool deal. The complete issues of Xenozoic Tales. And except for number 2 and number 6, they're all first printings also. So I already have, I think, all of these. I'll just like upgrade my own issues or whatever, and then put the rest in the for sale bin. It's not like a crazy ass deal or anything. I guess this works out to. I like traded for this, so kind of. So it would be considered like a little bit less than $4 an issue, which is decent or whatever. Not to be gauche and talk about money and all that stuff, but it's kind of worth it. When are you going to see a whole set of these, right? Yeah. Okay, next up, made a trade over at Red River Books. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 15, the final issue, part 5 of Prey by Doug Mensch and Paul Gulacy. The last one I was missing, the final of that. So I'm going to read this in its entirety and see how that is. The art and everything's pretty awesome. The only issue I was missing of Beasts of Burden, Wise Dogs, and Eldritch Men is number 1, so I got a whole set of that together now. That's nice. From the, what's it called, Ghost Machine universe. I thought I'd try out more because I liked that Rook Exodus so much. This is Geiger number 1, but I think I'm actually just going to turn around and sell this right away because it wasn't kind of my thing. Maybe it's just a little like too far-fetched and superhero-y for me. But yeah, kind of fun. Filling up holes in the Hellblazer run. I did have a whole set of it before when I was young, but I like, you know, in the days of like Fight Club and stuff, that you'd purge all your possessions and try to be Spartan and stuff. That was a dumb thing though, so just building it up again. Luckily, it seems all these Hellblazer issues are pretty cheap still nowadays. Say, like on my comic shop, they're all like $2.50 American plus about $1 shipping each. So they're all like under $4 basically. Except for like issue number 1 maybe. So Hellblazer number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. The 3rd issue of Joe Fixit by Peter David and some other cats. I'm just kind of enjoying this, man. Liking Hulk, Joe Fixit. Getting close to completing the set of Lone Wolf and Cub, at least in this first publications printings. So this is Lone Wolf and Cub number 40, number 42. An extra copy of M from Fritz Lang and John J. Muth. I've gone over this in a previous video, and I just kind of like, I was like, yeah, for trade, it feels like I'm not really paying money for it, so I'm like, yeah, I could have one for the for sale or for friends. To recommend that. Orc Stain, Image First, number 1. I've just heard that this is very good, so kind of checking it out. You know, I like orcs and that D&D kind of stuff. James Stokoe, or Stokoe. And the art looks pretty good. Hopefully the writing is fun as well. Oops. Recently got an actual first print of this, number 1. And it's kind of rare. I think that goes for pretty high, so this will be like the double or whatever. Reader copy or for the for sale bin or whatever. I still want to read, like, you know, I still want to treat valuable comics like their reader copies, so I feel like I'll be faking the funk if I don't. I don't know. Punisher Born number 1. I do recommend this series as far as like out of all the Punisher stuff. And kind of a highlight in all of the Punisher and Garth Ennis run particularly as well. You know, it's like there's like hardly any comedy or shock value here. It's just pure like dark, you know, Garth Ennis knows about war, and yeah, some good stuff here. That's number, so this completes the second set for me. Be able to have one for sale too. Number 4. Seek and you shall find, I guess, because maybe these aren't that rare, because it seems like since I've been interested in this, I'm kind of finding an issue or two almost everywhere I go, but I've kind of like cleaned out the whole city of them now, maybe. Winter World number 1 from the later IDW series. I think that, yeah, this is a sequel to the earlier, was it Pacific or Eclipse? One of those two, I think, from the 80s. And yeah, this is a variant Jorge Zafino cover. This is kind of weird because this is like, I see every kind of like comic seller in town posting that they got like a copy of these in their just-in bin. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it's kind of weird. Some R. Crumb XYZ comics. Yeah, I'm actually not like crazy about underground comics because they're just Now that I mean, I loved them when I was in my 20s, but now they just seem all like degenerates. And I'm not like a crazy conservative or anything, but it's just like how much rebellion and like sexual attraction and stuff do you really like talk about society being bad and like you need to be more sensitive. Like I'm a sensitive artist type, and I don't know, maybe I'm stereotyping a little bit, but yeah. I guess I like genre stuff more than underground stuff, but I'll try. I'll see. Maybe it's just R. Crumb. Sorry guys. Maybe I'm like talking stupid in this video. I'm just kind of like flying off the cuff here, just off the cuff. We'll see though how that goes. I kind of like. I've had like a ton of R. Crumb stuff in the past, but I usually don't actually hold on to it very long, except for like the art sketchbooks and stuff like that. I like that stuff. Some Jonah Hex origins, again some Jimmy Palmiotti and Justin Gray, but this time the Jonah Hex art is done by Jordi Bernay. So yeah, this should be pretty fun. Just kind of this Jonah Hex stuff from this era seems like it's just fun to read. It's kind of pulpy. Had a bunch of these before and kind of sold them because I was like, I don't know if it's like necessarily perennial that you'll want to like revisit and reread, but at this time for like kind of next to free, I'm like, yeah, I'll grab it. I'm excited to grab it for that kind of thing. We'll see. It kind of would be fun to have all this stuff too, baby. Okay, some books. Got some books on the credit here. Dada Art and Anti-Art by Hans Richter. And this is the kind of thing I was like kind of more interested in as a youngin' too, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe my commentary on this video sucks, guys. Sorry. Some better stuff coming up for showcasing stuff. Okay. Heat 2 by Michael Mann and Meg Gardner. Just second copy for. I know one of my homies is a huge Michael Mann and Heat fan, so I think I'll give him this as a late Christmas present next time I see his ass. Kate, moving on. Okay, last up was Mighty Comics. From the Energon universe, G.I. Joe #1. This is the Baroness cover, and this was a pretty decent read. And I thought I'd be a little bit of a sucker and get a variant cover too, because this Jenny Friesen cover is pretty nice. Nice gun too, looks like a real one. I should know what that is, maybe an M4 or an AR. Yeah, nice art, eh? I'll be a sucker for variant covers once in a while. Pop Comics, you got me going for these a little bit, maybe. Trigger Warnings #3 of Red Room. Just an extra copy for the sailor or for friends. Same with Red Room Crypto Killers #2. A friend of mine like recently bought up a ton of them, so I'm replenishing that. Alan Moore's Yuggoth Cultures. Yeah, Alan Moore doing some of that Cthulhu Mythos kind of stuff for Avatar early in the 2000s, I think. This is numbers 1 to 3. And Yuggoth Creatures. Various artists and writers in these too. This Yuggoth Creatures. Some good ones. From the Dollar Bin, Lady Mechanica #2. Just checking out some of the steampunky stuff. We'll see how it is. His art's pretty nice. Hopefully the writing is good too, but I would wager it might not be, just because it's like an overexposed kind of genre maybe of art or like fashion even, could be said. Like a fashionable trend, but who knows. It looks good. It looks pretty good. A recent biography comic, who puts these out? Titan. On Martin Scorsese. I've only got through like the first 20 pages or so as of yet, and it seems very in-depth. Like whoever wrote this, okay, Amazing Ameziane, translated by Christopher Bradley. Like the first like 15 pages or so are just about like his like grandparents' life and stuff like that. And this is kind of neat. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a director. There's a lot of little homages, especially in this kind of like the fonts even. And there's some cute stuff in here. Like say that I think he was asthmatic or some kind of breathing issue, so his father would, after taking him to the doctor weekly, would take him to the cinema as like something they could do together while his other brothers were maybe more active. So that's really cute. I'm like fall in love with the cinema there, kind of like through the years. There might be some like dark intrigue and stuff later, I don't know, or some drama, but as of yet, it's pretty lighthearted. Yeah, just kind of checking these out because maybe an interesting and fun way to read biographies. Titan usually does some good stuff too. Okay, again from Oni's. Getting to some new releases here. Don't click off. I swear there's some good stuff coming up this time, alright? Oni kind of doing the EC thing, this time in the genre of fantasy, but this is more like fantasy meets sci-fi with like a dark edge. Cruel Kingdom #1. And this one was decent. Not bad, not great, but pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. I won't go into it in too much more depth. This is the foil variant of the B cover. A little bit of speculating on these, just I was like, whatever, I could. Heatseeker Combustion #2, the brown nude cover, I think. And the Lanical Toe nude, something like that. Anacoleto. I don't know if I even ordered this. I think I got this by accident. But... And here's the foil. You know me, I'm just getting like some kind of extras of these because they can be pretty nice. These are always fun to read. I forget who did this variant. Let's see quick. Is it Darick Chu? Yeah. Should I just rip off this like covering or whatever? Is that the thing to do? Outer cover. Okay, Nexus from Mike Barron with Kelsey Shannon. Is Kelsey Shannon still in Comicsgate, or like formerly? Maybe he's like, he just doesn't want to be involved in like drama or shit talk, right? He just wants to work. That's respectable. So, as much as I love the franchise and Mike Barron and Kelsey Shannon, this is just kind of like whatever. It's decent, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's not going to blow your mind or anything either, so... Yeah. Here's the variant by Kanan White of #1 and #2. It's just a 2-part series. Okay, let's get to the juicy bits, the finale here, okay? Okay, the final issue for this year of Penthouse Comics, #6. So this comes out every 2 months. And you've seen me grabbing these every month, and I'm always saying like, yeah, I'm just going to read them all like at once or whatever, because they're always multi-part stories. And yeah, that's what I did. So I've read all of these now. I can like tell you about them. Long story short, these are basically you're getting like 5 graphic novels in these, and out of the 5, 4 of them are awesome. One of them sucks, which is a pretty good ratio for anthologies. You know me, I always say like anthologies are kind of, you know, a mixed bag, and like a lot of the time the ratio you're paying like for a whole comic, whereas like only one story of it is pretty good or not. But these were actually quite good, and we're gonna go over that a little bit here. Let's see. And they're from like it seems like they're French a lot, at least the good ones maybe of French origin. So some people of France, some French pride here. We're gonna start with #1. And I'll just take you a little bit through each graphic novel. The Dream by Jean Dufault with art by Guillem March. These kind of remind me of just like European graphic novels, the kind of stuff you might see in Catalan or heavy metal. And you know me, I'm a bit of a hard ass. It's hard to impress me, but these are pretty excellent. So I will be sticking with these. The Guillem March art, of course, is fantastic. Showcase that a little bit here. I guess it's in watercolor. Guillem March's story, or Jean Dufault and Guillem March, is about like a sex performer. Gives like live sex shows. to kind of like the maybe like higher upper crust or something like that. He gets recruited to by something called the Invisible Art Productions. So there's a little bit of like maybe a conspiracy kind of vibe there, of like an underground like cult behind maybe Hollywood, and yeah, it kind of just has to do with that. There's some kind of psychedelic horror um, matterings, or whatever you call it. Here's some nice Guillem March art, though. This is the whole thing. Is Guillem March is just fucking pretty amazing. Yeah, we'll get onto it as well further. Okay, this one sucks. This is the one that sucks. Gone crazy. There's 4 parts of this. I read the first 2, and like the first one, I was just rolling my eyes, like, oh man. And the second one, I was almost puking with how stupid it is. One of them is Latino, one of them is black. Ooh, isn't that scary? And they make themselves up to look white. And these shows in the South, and then when the sweat starts coming off, because they're in the South, all the audience are racist. And they try to shoot them, but then they shoot the audience of all the racist conservatives. Isn't that, like, come the fuck on, man. Give me a fucking break with that shit. We'll go to that again later, but this one's good. Stephen Daysberg and Alex Quirix, Miss October. This woman, as far as she can tell, an attempted RAPE was done on her, and it was thwarted somehow and left her with amnesia, and also she's deaf. To kind of cope with it, but maybe even before that, she was kind of an art thief and cat burglar. This takes place in maybe the 40s or 50s. Seems like the 40s. So it kind of has this vibe of 1940s LA, and that's pretty cool too. Again, the art is pretty awesome, and same with the writing. You get kind of a vibe of LA Confidential, I'd say. There's these 2 different detectives on the case of her burglings, and as well while that's going on, there's also a serial killer that is murdering beautiful young ladies and arranging their corpses in positions as if they're like pin-up centerfolds and stuff in like photo shoots, but it's pretty gruesome or macabre that they're arranged in those ways. Yeah, we'll just show a little bit more of this art. Yeah, just kind of like subdued crime, mystery, suspense in a European style. Very skilled, and like just like there's like nothing wrong with the art. And yeah, pretty fun to read this, Miss October. There were 4 parts in this first year of Miss October, and it looks like it's going to continue to a total of 8 in next year of Penthouse Comics, so looking forward to that. The police chief, he kind of looks like he's modeled on Ernest Borgnine, if I'm not mistaken. That's a little bonus. I gotta be careful not to just flip through here. Okay, but the star of all of these, I would say, is I Spit on Your Grave. And it doesn't actually have anything to do with the old cult, like, revenge flick. Aside from just sharing the title, this was actually based on some pulp noir stories written by a French guy. What's his name? Vian? Boris Vian, under the pen name Vernon Sullivan. He was born in the 20s, but I think these were written in the 1940s. And as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any English translations of these novels. You've heard me talk maybe previously that I'm kind of looking for pulp novels that are really dark. I've been looking for, what's that shit called? The Killer Inside Me by Jim Thomason. That one written by like a corrupt sheriff, or written from a corrupt sheriff's point of view. This one written from the point of view of like an evil character on a scheme for revenge. Maybe considered evil. It depends. When you're reading it from his point of view, he does have motives, though. It starts with him moving to this small town And his whole mission, unfolds that he is just kind of like seducing women and like groups of friends, like ingratiating himself to them to seduce the women and like have orgies and stuff with the as a step to kind of penetrate the upper crust and do the same to the women there. And I don't want to spoil anything, get to his motives, but wild shit, man. This is just fucking awesome because to read a story from the point of view of like an evil, if you will, protagonist is kind of what I was looking for. And it's very well written. It's very very clever and very taut. The dialogue is very sharp, very like hard hitting, sparse. He's a real asshole, but that makes the women like love him all the more, of course. I think there are a couple parts where I want to show you the writing here. Okay, so that was part one. I just have the most like kind of bookmarks in these early parts here. Just gonna show some more. And yeah, this is the end, so if you don't want to, if you're not interested in this kind of thing, this is all just going over these graphic novels of Penthouse Comics here. Another from Boris Vian, or Vernon Sullivan as he was known. So he's a French guy, and he actually worked as a liaison for some jazz artists to play and showcase in France at the time, like Duke Ellington and I think Miles Davis and some others. Maybe partially owe being able to like go to France and play there to him a bit. Yeah, but he wrote these like really dark pulp novels apparently under this name Vernon Sullivan. Let's see here, what do we got? The Dead All Have the Same Skin. These are kind of my favorites of these Vernon Sullivan ones. Okay. Just want to read a little bit here to you guys. It pleased me to beat the daylights out of those pigs, but after 5 years of that sport, I had enough. 5 years had passed without a single one of them suspecting that a mixed race, that a colored man, was knocking them out every single night. At first it excited me. And the women, those whiskey-soaked sluts. Yeah, it's pretty hard stuff, man. He was working as a bouncer in this nightclub, this guy. That also, like, doubled as a whorehouse and, like, a house of gambling and stuff. This, the narrator of this story. There's some nice shots here. Who did the art on this one again? German Eramosp and Moro Vargas, or Varga. Yeah, some nice art throughout all of these, pretty much. You get this kind of like cutaway narration here. Upstairs at Nick's, they were playing crooked games. You could also find girls if you wanted. We drink as well, but not just anyone went in. I wanted to show something here, let me see. I was white. I had married a white woman. I had a white kid. Yet my mother's father had worked as a dock worker in St. Louis. A dock worker as dark as you could imagine. So I was a little bit worried at this time that maybe it was like getting into the woke, like race and identity politics and stuff. Like when I saw Gun Crazy and then started reading this, I was like, oh, come on, man. But that's not like a huge deal. I mean, it's a key factor in this story, but it's not really that kind of like political beating you over the head with some bullshit kind of stuff going on. Yeah, the Vernon Sullivan stuff. It's more of Miss October. Some nice art here. Let's power through a little bit here. Looking like Ernest Borgnine. I swear, that must be Ernest Borgnine, right? Some more Guillem March art for the dream. Yeah, again, pretty strong stuff throughout. Like 4 out of 5. What is that, 80%? 80% hidden for basically like some kind of graphic novels that you wouldn't get nowadays unless like heavy metal or, from what I know of, Catalan was putting out the kind of stuff that they used to. Yeah, this gun crazy one sucks. I'll show you a little bit of why it's here's one of the antagonists, I guess. You know, he supports the political candidate, of course, because he's a conservative, so he's a white supremacist, of course, right? And then he becomes he thinks he's a hero called Super White Man, and he wants to kill Mexicans and people of color and gay people. And then, whoa, that's so provocative. The costume, the mustache, very subtle stuff. This is not insulting anyone's intelligence, is it? Oh yeah, and he likes ARs. He likes AR-15s. Give me a like, this is almost a satire of how stupid shit is. Like, I can't believe this is serious shit, man. Like, get the fuck out of my face with this fucking trash. So it's kind of weird that this can be so stupid, but with other stuff that's so good in here. And I'm pretty sad to see that that Gun Crazy is actually going to be showcased in season 2 or year 2 of Penthouse Comics as well. If they could ditch it, they'd have like 100% hitting rate. Okay, some of I Spit on Your Grave's writing here. Your sister would wonder what you're up to. Is she here? Of course. He just boned this chick. He just like got her. She's super rich. He got her to come to like this. He tricked her into coming to like this orgy party where she got drunk and threw up. He took her to the washroom and kind of like, you know, I don't want to use terms, but while she was super drunk, he took advantage of her. She became into it because this is some dark. This isn't politically correct stuff. Is she here? Yes, of course. That's great, then I can keep an eye on her. I think your supervision can only be helpful to her. What are your thoughts on her? I wouldn't mind sleeping with her, too. I think she's fantastic. I wish I could be like her. If you saw her undressed, I wouldn't mind that. Oh, you're a real schmuck. Apologies, I haven't had the time to learn good manners. I like your manners. It's time for us to go downstairs. I like your voice, too. Come on. You have to marry me now. I don't want to. Why not? I think I'd prefer your sister. I adore you. You have to. He's just, the lead character of this and the dialogue is just so fucking hard, man. Everything was really shaping up well. Oh shit, I can't show that. Yeah, here's another cool scene. He still had too many of those prejudices of goodness and divinity in his head. Tom was too honest. Thus, this was his downfall. He believed that by doing good, you reap good. But when that happens, it's just by chance. There's only one thing that matters, and that's revenge. And to exact revenge is the most satisfying way possible. I thought about the kid. When Anne Morin's father found out he was dating his daughter, it didn't take long. The kid never left town. I just stayed away for over 10 years. With Bill, with Dick, with Judy, I had already gained points, but telling them that a black person had outsmarted them didn't really benefit me. With Lou and Jean Asquith, I would have my revenge on Morin and all of them, 2 for 1, the opposite of musical notes. Yeah, it just unfolds. The plot just thickens and thickens. In I Spit on Your Grave. I think the French title translates to like I Will Spit on Your Graves. It happened at around 11 o'clock with the auspices of a phone call. Jean Asquith invited me to her parents' house for the weekend with Dex and some other friends of hers. I gotta put on my reading glasses, 1 second. There we go. Yeah, no more pauses, right? I accepted, of course, but without enthusiasm. Why not? I'll try to make time for it. Try to come. You're not short of knights in shining armor, are you? Or do you really live in a hole? The men around here don't know how to take care of a girl who's had a bit too much to drink. Ha 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 ha. Look on his face. He's like, fuck, I fucking like raped you, bitch. Sorry, use that word. That affects the outreach of the video, but whatever. Come, I really want to see you, Lee Anderson, and Lou will be happy too. Her sister. Give her a kiss for me, and tell her to do the same to you. Click. Just hangs up. Yeah, it's all like, I'm not even showing like the hardest, craziest shit in here. But yeah, I Spit on Your Grave is pretty fucking unreal, man. Let's show some more of Guillem March's art on The Dream. It's just fucking hot shit, man. The man can draw and the man can paint like a motherfucker. He's meeting with this rich guy that's kind of involved in the Yakuza, maybe. You belong to my daughter until she tosses you aside. I could toss Clarissa away. Being beside her has bored me the past few nights. I'm sorry, Hugh. You must tell me what it is you desire. It's very simple. I no longer want to hear you. You'll leave this table and go to Owen Dai, his, like, basically bodyguard and hitman. He's a sadist. He's waiting for you outside. He'll decide what happens to you. You now belong to him. But, you heard me. Leave. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, this being Penthouse, you'd think there'd be a lot of adult, like, basically sexual debauchery, but most of this stuff is more, like, psychological and, like, just mean motherfucking shit, man. Which is kind of what I've been looking for, that kind of dark crime kind of stuff of just people being nasty. Here's one thing that's a one-off. Brandon Graham, kind of comic diary of his time working in the porn industry. Maybe there's an issue to speculate on because of that. I don't know if a lot of this stuff, I don't know if it'll be printed elsewhere later and shit like that. Not that I'm into speculating, but, you know, if anybody's interested in that kind of thing. Just some intrigue, or some of the inside, just some inside dishes. I took off my shoes so not to leave any tracks on the green screen they're filming on tomorrow. Yeah, it's kind of like a Jurassic Park porn parody, I think. They filmed the sex scene in a side room of the studio. The performers were all shown each other's test results to decide if they wanted to use condoms or not. In the studio kitchen before the scene, they talked over their boundaries and what works for each of them. They use Cetaphil facial cleanser as fake ejaculate. Ejaculate? No, you moron. Ejaculate. Ejaculate. It tastes like soap, too, so people use watered-down yogurt or pina colada-flavored stuff if it's going to go in someone's mouth. Oops. Jeez, fucking hell. Show a little bit more. Number 4. Some more Guillem March. Why not show a little bit? Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, man. So this will be, again, Guillem March even able to draw and paint a nice cemetery scene. Somber. This looks pretty nice. Final issue. Yeah, Gun Crazy, the only loser, the rest all winners. I don't know if this stuff, if it's ever collected into graphic novels, it might be worth it to just get them separately that way. I imagine they'd be like, you know, $20 or something each, or $15 in the US maybe, but I don't know if they'll ever happen, but again, to reiterate, the winners for me are I Spit on Your Grave, The Dead All Have the Same Skin, Miss October, and The Dream by Duzo and Guillem March and whoever the writer is. It's decent writing though. Okay, here's a bit more of The Dead All Have the Same Skin. A nice foot chase action scene here. It's pretty well done. And yeah, here's a nice well done shot too of her, where it's just like one scene, but the character moves through it. Down the ladder, across the rooftop, jump to that rooftop, up this ladder. Yeah, so I guess that does it for this video, guys. I might go to the handheld, because it's hard for me to read and, like, see what I'm doing while I'm trying to keep things in frame here with the handle of this camera in my way, like, in front of my face, blocking my eyes, kind of, I don't know. It's nice to have, like, the focus work good, though, I guess, and stuff. But, let me know what you think. Again, yeah, these are a recommend. I guess it comes to about, like, $60 throughout the year for all of these. But, you're getting, like, four really good graphic novels and one bunk ass one that still has good art, but it's just you know, I don't want to be a typical right wing or conservative what's this shit called, reactionary. I mean, like, why would lefties and righties turn into like just basically stereotypical reactionaries, just kind of cookie cutter kind of shit? But yeah, that woke ass story just, it fucking sucks. Maybe it would be okay when you're like 20 years ago, but it's just like, whatever. Okay. But yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you in the next one, and happy hunting out there. Hope you find cool shit. More videos to come, and hope to hear from you in the comments and whatnot. Alright, take care.